Buffs Nation, what's good? Welcome back to Common Sense Buffs. This channel is dedicated to covering the Colorado Buffaloes football program in the Coach Prime era. So, if you're following Coach Prime, you're a Colorado Buffalo fan, you're a Colorado hater, whatever you are, man, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's get this content out to more people. It's been a long time. I should have left you without some dope content to react to. And man, who would have thought we'd be here at this point in the season? I thought I was being optimistic. I had the Colorado Buffaloes going 8-4 on the season. What about you guys? What was your preseason prediction? Please throw it down in the comments. All right. So shout out to me. I was being optimistic, but right now the Buffs are in the driver's seat. They could win out this season and do something historic out in Boulder. But although I thought at 8-4 I was being optimistic, there were people out there like Tim, a fellow panelist, whenever I get on live with TLP Sports Club, who had this team finishing at 10-2. So shout out to Tim and all the people out there who had undefeated in 10-2 seasons out there. Much respect. Now the Buffs are within striking distance of 10-2, and if they hit that 10-2, they will definitely be competing for the Big 12 Conference Championship and a berth in the college football playoffs. So let's get right to it, man. I mean, what would that mean, right, for college football if the Buffaloes do pull that off? Go 10-2, go to the championship game, win the championship game, and go to the playoffs. I mean, that will be complete pandemonium in the sports world, right? You could see that all eyes will be on every single game. I mean, the team is big now. They're selling out games. They're on national TV every single game that they've played this season. But imagine if this team makes it to the college football playoffs. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And the movie, right? Prime already has a reality TV show. I mean, watching Well Off Media is like watching a reality TV show, but the movie just kind of writes itself. A former Hall of Fame player turns coach, goes to an HBCU, flips that entire HBCU's football culture, recruits the number one player in the nation in Travis Hunter, and then bring along his sons, which I don't know about you guys. I really didn't know much about Shador Sanders and Shiloh Sanders along to Jackson State and absolutely turn that program around. Then he sets his sight on Power Four football. And this is just me, but I believe it's to really give Travis and Shador and Shiloh the platform they deserve to showcase what they can do out there on that football field. And I think we all are college football is better for it. I think the sports world is better for it that we're watching these guys play at the highest level of football and they're doing it on national TV in front of massive crowds and it's a cultural phenomenon and I love to see it. And so on his mission to bring his kids to Power 4 and really demonstrate that he can coach and he's not just it's not just for show. His first attempt is to go to his alma mater, the Florida State Seminoles. And maybe he had other applications out there, but what's in the purview of the public is that he applied to Florida State and they said no. Right. And just listen, man, I don't know who said no, but I'm sure they're kicking themselves, right? Because you have two completely total different situations going on in Boulder and that are going on in I think they're in Tallahassee, right? Florida State. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So then in come Rick George, Miss Peggy, and the 1-11 Colorado Buffaloes who said, "We believe." That's all really what Prime. I think that's basically what Prime was looking for. Somebody who believed that he could coach at the Power Four level. Prime said yes, and in year one, the Buffs went 4-8. And in the process, even though it was a disappointing season, became the hottest team in all of college football. Now we're in year two, and we're not just talking about going bowling. Remember when Prime used to talk about, oh, we got to get Miss Peggy to a bowl game? We're not talking about just any bowl game. We're talking about the biggest bowl game of them all, the national championship. This is what movies are made of. And this is the kind of historic run that Deion Sanders and this team are on. All right, let's talk about how the Buffs are going to get there. Last week, they took care of business against the Utah Utes to lock up win number 8. And it was all about the defense, man. You know, we talk a lot about Shador and Travis, but the Colorado Buffaloes defense is why they are 8-2. They are becoming more and more dominant, which was the name or the word, right, in training camp and at every practice and in meetings. When Prime is addressing his team, he wants them to be dominant, and the defense is starting to do just that. They held Utah to just 31 rushing yards. I don't know on how many attempts. It was something, I think it was like 30 attempts, and they held them to 31 yards. The D line was on fire, and you can see Coach Sapp, Coach D. Lou, and Coach Dancy's fingerprints all over that defensive line. And Amari McNeil is playing out of his mind, and he deserved to really be named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. The defense also registered 4 sacks. They were getting to the quarterback, and as a result, they forced 3 interceptions. All of those interceptions came when that quarterback was under duress. And maybe you could say the first one to Travis was not, but they were getting pressure, and that's what was helping the secondary make plays. Travis Hunter got a pick. Nakai Hill Green, for the second week in a row, had an interception at the linebacker spot, and DJ McKinney registered his first pick of the season. Now let's talk about special teams. Prime always says that special teams must be special, and LeJontay Wester answered the call with a 76-yard punt return to the house that he also earned Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week. And Prime, in a post game interview, said that he wanted to get LeJontay out there in the return game because going into the draft as a receiver, the more that you could bring to a team, the better, the more likely they're going to draft you. So not only as a receiver, but as a return specialist. And that's good to see him out there taking punt returns to the house. All right, now let's talk about this offense. I was really disappointed in this game at the overall look and feel of the offense for a majority of the first half of the game. It wasn't the cleanest performance at game number 10 and going for your 8th win against a team, although a very, very good defense, but yet and still you wanted to see the Colorado Buffaloes come out and play complementary football and really dominate on the offensive side of the ball. But even with the fact that they didn't play well, they still had 42 points on offense, and that was against one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the Big 12. Shador started slow with an early interception, and there were a few sloppy drives, but once he found his rhythm, the game was over. He was spreading the ball around, which is what he is really, really good at. He knows he has a lot of talented wide receivers that can make plays, and he found them. He hit Will Shepherd 2 touchdowns. LeJontay Wester did what he needed to do in the middle of the field. Travis Hunter, of course, making big catches all over the field. And Draylon Miller, the freshman, who had a grown man touchdown, dragging defenders into the end zone or throwing them off of him, and he ended the day with over 100 yards receiving. So even though it's not perfect, this offense found a way to win. And another thing that I really enjoyed is that they had a breakaway run, even though the run game wasn't really there for the entire game. Isaiah Augusta continues to improve week over week. He broke a 37-yard run for a touchdown. You love to see Colorado's offense breaking long runs for touchdowns. You really did not see that last year, and they really did that this game. Um, but there's really no time to celebrate, right? You got to take maybe the day, celebrate a little bit. Maybe that night they celebrated, but I know they got right back to work on Sunday because guess what? They have to get on the road again in order to get that ninth win. They're going to have to play the Kansas Jayhawks, who are up next. And the Kansas Jayhawks, man, are a sneaky, dangerous team that I'm not really paying attention to their record. I'm really looking about what kind of the way they're ending the season, and they're starting to build some momentum. They just beat BYU, who was leading, and I think they still lead the Big 12 right now with only one loss. Um, but that was a massive win for them, and it has to be a confidence booster coming into this game against the Buffaloes. Again, they're going on the road, but Colorado plays very well on the road. I mean, I think they actually play better on the road on the offensive side of the ball. So we'll see when they travel to Kansas City in Arrowhead Stadium. All eyes will be on Coach Prime and this team. The stakes couldn't be higher. Win this, and the Buffs stampede their way into the Big 12 championship and possibly the college football playoffs. So here's what it's going to take. The defense needs to stay dominant. I'd love to see another big game from Amari McNeil and that D line. They need to shut down Kansas's run game. They have a very good running back, Neal. They're going to need to put the clamps on him like they did against Utah. Secondary discipline. The Buffs have shown they can force turnovers. We'll need a few more interceptions to really swing momentum in that game. And then Shador needs to continue to just do his thing, be poised, and just pick that defense apart. He needs to start sharp. He needs to get out of the early game jitters and just play his game. If he plays like we know he can, it's going to be another big day for Travis, Will, and Draylon Miller and LeJounte Wester. I think that now that Wester has shown that he's a threat, and maybe even with the return of Jimmy Horn, we might see another electric return in this game that could really flip the scoreboard out in Arrowhead Stadium. So, what's my final call? I have the Buffs winning 38-24 over the Kansas Jayhawks to clinch what I believe will be their spot in the Big 12 championship. Shador goes for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. Travis gets another 100-yard game, and the defense delivers the pressure and the turnovers we need to punch that ticket. All right, Buff Nation, that was my breakdown. You let me know what you think in the chat. Go ahead and put your score predictions in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Let's run up the score. We're trying to get to 250 subscribers. I know we can do it. All right, y'all. It's been real. Until next time, peace.